not that. Though, then why am I here? I'm here because I have had the opportunity of completing almost 8 paths. Completing 8 paths, one path has got close to around 16 projects, right? So, which means that 16 times for every path I've been evaluated, and some of the finest evaluators have evaluated me, and some of the finest evaluators of the Toastmasters fraternity I have within my club, many of whom are my mentees as well. So what I want to share with you is a learning that I have gathered from everyone. So it's not something, the credit of this does not go to me at all. It goes entirely to the people who have actually nurtured me and helped me learn. And some of that learning, some nuggets I will share with you. So before I start with what is evaluation or why should we do an evaluation, I mean, how to do an evaluation, let me ask you a very, very basic question. Why is evaluation necessary outside of Toastmasters? Why is it something that's important for us to learn? See, speaking is something that we all know, that we need to know how to speak, right? Because so that we can communicate. But why evaluation?
Get the feedback.
But why is it important for you to provide an evaluation? Receiving an evaluation, understood. But why is it important for you to provide an evaluation?
For improvement. Scope of improvement.
That's a pretty generic answer, I would say, right? Grow, scope of improvement. That applies for everything. Let's get a little bit more touch and feel.
Actually, I feel that sometimes when we are evaluating ourselves or we are judging ourselves, we are some way biased. Getting an evaluation from someone is basically getting an independent opinion aside from any personal bias. And that independent opinion basically gives us the chance to improve.
I agree. But what again you're saying is from a speaker's perspective. My question was more from an evaluator's perspective. How many of you are people leaders here or have been a people leader, manager, leader, director, vice president, these kind of roles? How many of you aspire to be that? Almost all of us, right? We want to be in leadership positions and all that. Having been in leadership positions in many Fortune 500 companies like Target, JCPenney, Hewlett Packard, one of the things that I have noticed and I've learned is that giving the feedback the right way is the most difficult thing to do. What happens is when we want to give a feedback, we do one of the two things. Either we tell them what they want to hear, or we tell them what we want to say in a manner which absolutely breaks them. It is important for us to call a spade, but it is also important for us to understand that that spade should not be digging the grave of the person that we are giving a feedback to. As a person who has been managing managers for a very long time, I have seen one of the things that managers struggle with is maintaining this balance between the two. Either they're too sweet, like it's okay, chalta hai, it's fine, we all get adjusted, we make mistakes, it's fine. Or they're like, how did you even do this? Do you wake up in the morning every day to just screw things up? None of this is what we need to do. So evaluation in Toastmaster helps you to learn how to give feedback in a manner where the person receiving it would feel that I was looking for this. Yes, this is what I was missing. Thank you for telling me this. None of the speakers come on stage with the expectation that they would be only hearing good things about us, about the speech. They come on stage with the expectation that I would be getting to know something which I missed so that I can get better in my next speech. And the same applies for your team members as well. Everyone performs with the intention of growth, learning, earning, right? Learning, earning, and growth, the leg of career. So I think that is something that we will learn today. So the first basic rule about evaluation, how many of you know how the speaker is introduced? Speaker, title, speaker in a Toastmaster meeting, right? The evaluator does not introduce the speaker. The Toastmaster of the day does. Why so? Why doesn't the evaluator introduce the speaker?
The personal bias should not come in.
Can you elucidate a little bit? What do you mean by that?
I feel that the evaluator talks about the project, the pathway details, and what is expected out of the speaker. But personally, it is introduced by the TM body because there should be a slight differentiation between both the roles, the personal aspect.
Okay.
The
Okay.
title is not known to the evaluator. It is the Toastmaster of the day who will reveal the title so that the speaker will not have any insights of the evaluator will not have any insights of what the speaker
The title is
wants.
given out by the Toastmaster of the day and the evaluator listens to that, right? But what I'm saying is that the evaluator does not introduce the speaker. And the reason is we don't want to evaluate the speaker. We want to evaluate the speech, right? Some of the most useless evaluations start with this statement. You are a fabulous speaker. You need no introduction. The moment I got to know that I'm evaluating your speech, I was so nervous. They feel that they're uplifting the speaker. But if it's a seasoned speaker, that person would feel okay. So this evaluation again is going to be more like a long list of things that I have already said and appreciating me for things that I already know I'm good at. They would pay no attention. So an effective evaluation has to be an evaluation of the speech of the project. So let me share my screen and show you something first. Can you see my screen? So this is how a typical Toastmaster evaluation form looks like. So there's a purpose statement. Now, if you look at the purpose statement, it has got two parts to it. The purpose of the project and the purpose of the speech. Can someone who has been a Toastmaster for some time explain to me what is the difference of this? The purpose of the project and the purpose of the speech? You can read this and then you can answer me.
The purpose of the project is depending on the pathway that you have chosen. For example, it can be effective coaching. And under the effective coaching, you have chosen a particular project and it should adhere to the broader pathway as well as the immediate speech, which can be speaking with purpose. So it should match with.
Is that so? Because the project that I'm displaying right now is a level 1 project, right? It's an evaluation and feedback first speech. It is the same across all the paths. It doesn't matter whichever path you are taking and you don't choose this. It's a mandatory project.
Correct, but I chose persuasive influence will be different from that of the other pathways, right? So I thought it should adhere to the broader pathway and the goals of the pathway.
That's your way of looking at it, Srividya.
Okay.
It's totally fine if a speaker is coming and just adhering to the project objectives that's mentioned here. Think a little bit more and answer this, that read the statements very carefully. The purpose of this project is to practice applying feedback and serve as a speech evaluator during a club meeting. The purpose of this speech is for the member to present a speech and receive feedback from the evaluator. Are you seeing the distinction? The purpose of this project is to practice applying feedback and also provide feedback. But the purpose of this speech is only to receive feedback. So in this speech, as an evaluator, I am not expected to, or as a speaker, I'm not expected to implement the feedback or provide a feedback. That's not in the syllabus here. Here, my job is to provide receive the feedback that I'm getting from the evaluator. So the first thing as an evaluator that you need to do is read this very carefully to understand that what is the difference between the purpose of the project and the purpose of the speech. Can it be that they're one and the same at the same time? Yes. Let me show you one more evaluation sheet before I move on to the next part of what I'm going to share. So yeah, here we go. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? Yes? Okay. So this project is connected with storytelling. Here, if you see, there's a purpose statement for the project, but not for the speech. Why so? The purpose of this project is for the member to practice using a story within a speech or giving a speech that is a story. It does not have separately the purpose of the project and the purpose of the speech. Why so?
because stories can be narrated in different ways, and at the end of the day, Toastmasters would want the person to develop story speaking skills.
Yes. So basically, this project is about you learning how to tell a story. And this speech is also to demonstrate that you learned how to tell a story. So the objective of the project and the objective of the speech is the same for this particular project. Now, that is not something that applies for every single project, like the first one that I showed. Now, when you're going to give this particular speech, right? So now we're going to talk about the 3 sections that we have. If you look at this, the first section talks about you excelled at. What did you excel at? Second is what you want to work on. And the third is how do you challenge yourself? So one of the reasons I don't share slides is because no one looks at the slides later and no one listens to me because listens to the speaker because they think that Alimini is going to get the slides. So I would request you to make notes wherever you find it relevant. So let's talk about the first part. What did you excel at? But before we start with what did you excel at, say, remember this evaluation resource is a report. This is not the evaluation. This is the report of the evaluation. The evaluation is what you do. So where does your evaluation start with? Particularly in a contest, what is the first step that you need to take in terms of evaluating a speaker? Okay, Rajiv says title. Say I'm giving a 5 to 7 minute speech here, and you all are my evaluators. What is the first thing that you're going to understand after listening to me for 5 to 7 minutes?
Purpose, is the purpose been mentioned?
Exactly. Why did I give the speech? Why did I give the speech? Right? Because what happens essentially, for example, the project that I showed, right? Receiving a feedback. This project does not have any objective mention that I will be showing vocal variety, that I will be telling a story. You don't have any objective there. So I can speak to inspire, I can speak to educate, I can speak to entertain. So the first thing is for you to understand and analyze what is the objective of the speaker. Most good speakers will not come on stage and tell you, this is the purpose of my speech. You'll have to decode that from the speech. The choice of words, if there's a call to action, the kind of information that's being shared, the usage of humor, the usage of anecdotes, stories, all of these put together will help you understand what is the purpose of the speech. Why am I delivering this speech? Now, once you understand that, then you have to share with the speaker that to meet the purpose, remember this, to meet the purpose of that speech, what did the speaker do well? Now we follow a particular structure when we do that, which is we say, what did the speaker do well? Why is it important for a speech or for that project objective that he did this? And the third is, how did he do it? Maybe a small demonstration of that. For example, your speech today, Toastmaster Meena, was to inspire us to work towards a greener and cleaner planet. And for doing that, you started off with a plastic bottle. You showed this to us and said, this is death. I may forget your speech. I will never forget this plastic bottle. That's the impact you had on me. Great job with using the prompt. So what I just did is I explained to Meena that using the prop was important and why is it important? And through Meena, I am explaining to the entire audience. Remember, the evaluation will be personal, but it should be addressing the audience. I should not say something very specific to Meena, which only Meena will get it and none of you will care for it. For example, giving an example from cricket. This is the most common mistake we do. We give an example from cricket. Coming from a nation where, cricket is like a religion, we believe that for everyone here, cricket is a game. But trust me, in this 1 billion people, 1 billion plus people, we still have a lot of people for whom cricket is just an insect. Right? So giving an example from cricket is one of the best ways of disconnecting from certain members of the audience who don't follow cricket. Giving an example from IPL. So giving an example which is very specific to the speaker is something that you need to avoid when you're using this when you're trying to tell what did that person excel at. The second thing that you should do is you should tell the speaker, you should not tell the speaker what the speaker has already told us. This is something which I call the summary trap. Many of the evaluations go like this. In your speech, you talked about your life experiences. You shared with us how you moved from a small town to a big city and how the challenges of life were. You shared your experiences about coming here, the cars, the traffic, so many people, and how it was overwhelming for you. I was there. I heard him. Why are you again repeating the same things for me? So summary trap is one of the most important things that you need to avoid when you're providing an evaluation, particularly on the points that you could have done well, that you did well. Now let's come to things that you can do well, things that you can do better, and things that you can challenge yourself. So what is the difference between these two? The first one is what are the good things, the commendations. What is the difference between the second and the third? What you can do well, what you can do better, and what I want to challenge you on. What is the difference between these two?
What you can implement immediately in your next speech, what you can work on as a long-term goal for your upcoming speeches, that can be a challenge.
Yes, it's kind of meets the what I'm trying to say. It's kind of going there, but let me make it more tactical and more closer to the ground, right? What you can do better is something that you already did, and you can do better. You used humor in your speech, excellent. But be mindful of the pauses. Let your jokes land. Let the audience soak it in. You already used humor. How can you make it better? By using the pauses effectively. Now, what if I have to say, what can you challenge you on? Is something that you have not done. Like, for example, this speech was excellent. You did inspire us, Meena, about having a greener and cleaner planet. But don't you think that this topic is something which is a little boring to certain people? First, because we talk about it a lot. And second, that a lot of people don't relate with it because we don't get to see the future. Humans by nature are myopic. So try adding a little bit of humor. So here, Meena has not used humor. I'm telling her to try adding a humor. One thing we need to be very cautious about what we are challenging is we should be very careful about whether the speaker is capable of doing that. Sometimes we challenge the speaker to do something which the speaker is totally not capable of. In my case, a lot of people had told me initial days that, one is that, as I said, like out of this 140 odd evaluations that I would have received, at least 98 or maybe 120 of them, people have told me one feedback, which is smiling. Now, not smiling is a structural defect that goes back to 1977. I can't fix it now. I mean, that's something that my dad and mom had to work on. They didn't do a good job with that. I don't have a smiling face. This is how I am structured. This is how I'm built. It's a manufacturing defect. I have to live with it. I can't smile. I can't smile naturally. Now, to tell me someone like me with a grumpy face that you have to smile only then you should come on screen is like putting a pressure on me to do something that I'm not good at. Right? Or to tell someone, try doing a little bit of a role play. When you're talking about the mother, say like this, hello, beta, do you really want to do this? And when you're becoming a son, say, no, mom, I don't want to do this. Role plays scare me. Don't talk about role plays with me. I can play only my role, that is me. Right? So you need to challenge the speaker to do something which the speaker has shown some indication that that person can do. Like, for example, Sourav, I understand that you come across as a very serious person. Maybe somewhere just try to drop a hint of smile. Like, for instance, when you said about your mom and dad thing, how happy you were as a family, at least at that point of time, can we see a small hint of smile? It's not too difficult. Can you try doing that sort of once? Smile. See, you can do this. So then what you're doing is you are giving that confidence to the speaker to do something which he has never thought he'll do. Instead of go smile, go do role plays, right? That is something that doesn't work. Couple of things that you should avoid during an evaluation to make the evaluation more effective. First of all, don't only focus on delivery. Many of the speakers I have seen being evaluated as, your room light is not good, you should do something about it. That's the only recommendation I have for you. That's a recommendation for my electrician, not for me. Right? Or the easiest one. Sourav, stand up and deliver your speech. What extra do you get to see if I stand up except my paunch? Second question, how do you know I can stand up? How do you know I'm not handicapped? If you're meeting me for the first time, how do you know that I am, as a woman, if a woman is delivering a speech, that I'm not pregnant and I have a baby bump which I don't want to show off? Aren't you making the speaker uncomfortable? If the speaker is physically not fit, you're telling them, please stand up and deliver the speech. So the next time, if the speaker is not physically capable of standing, he'll not come and give the speech. Because he knows that you will be told that to stand up and give the speech. Some speeches do not need you to stand up. Anyone here knows Farzi? He was one of the world champion semifinalists last year. If you watch Farzi's speeches, he's a god of micro expressions. His every muscle gives the speech. Every muscle demonstrates an emotion. And he uses micro expressions so well, he can sleep and give a speech also. It will be equally effective. So if Farzi is giving a speech on micro expressions, do you really need to tell him to stand up? So to sum it up, because the red card is on, remember a Toastmaster evaluation always mostly has two parts. One, the project, overall project, what is the objective, and the speech, what is the objective. Understanding both of that is important. And you're doing an evaluation of the speech, keeping the broader project objective in mind. When you're giving the evaluation, you will have to keep in mind what the speaker did well, which you have to describe as what did he do well, how did he do it, and why was it important that what he did. When it's coming to recommendations, remember to talk about things that he can do better, which you already did, and to challenge him on something which he did not do, but you think, and he's giving you a reason to think so, to try. And finally, summarize. We say a lot of things in the 2 to 3 minutes. So if you don't summarize and remind what were the 3 key points which I'm doing right now, the audience will not remember it. So thank you. I'm open for any questions.
Thank you, Sourav. I have listened, I have heard many evaluations on the same topic, many sessions, education sessions, but I must say this is something totally different. And you have done a good job. And I'm sure that you connected with the audience very well. There will be a lot of questions from the side of the participants. Please be open. We have 10 minutes for the Q&A. You can ask the question directly. Unmute yourself and ask the question directly. He's there to answer.
Sourav, this is not a question. I just want to open with a compliment. I really enjoyed the session. It is one of the best evaluation sessions I have ever come across. It was not contest oriented. It is real life oriented. And as you rightly pointed out, people don't leave organization. They leave managers. If people give effective feedback, they will not leave the manager. So I really loved your session. I'll throw it open to the audience to ask questions.
Hello, Sourav. Rajiv here.
Hi, Rajiv.
Thank you. I have got a difference in opinion, and that's my question. So coming to the feedback of standing up and deliver, right? So basically we say as an evaluator, we need to connect with the speaker beforehand so that we tend to know what they are looking into and then go through the project objectives. So if that is already done, can't we tell them, because that vividly give them the opportunity to express more with the hand gestures and the stage usage as well. So why can't it be a great feedback to give? That's my question.
Great question, Rajiv. So whenever I think of evaluation, I think it in 2 parts. One is evaluation in the club meetings and the evaluation in the contests. Do you have an opportunity to connect with the speaker in contest, Rajiv, and know this beforehand? Have this discussion?
Not at all. Not at all.
No, right?
No.
So whatever you're practicing in the club meetings, in terms of evaluation or speeches, many of us have the contest in mind. If we are thinking of the contest, how will you connect with the speaker? You don't even know who the test speaker is.
Not at all.
Right? So there, if you're going and telling the speaker that please stand up before the knowing that what the speaker is capable of standing up, then it's something which may come across as insensitive. And I've seen, at least in this part of the world, and you know what, this is a learning that I got from one of the clubs in US. The person exactly, I also used to do the same, the first evaluation period, please stand up. Okay, it's like the national anthem thing. And he said that, why should I stand up? I'm talking. So he did this project on connect with storytelling, right? The general evaluator told me, why should the speaker stand up? He's telling me a story. He's coming closer to the camera, looking at me like this, and then going back like this, and then like doing like this. I want to see that expression. I don't want to see his paunch. Why should he stand up? So it all boils down to the objective of the speech, the purpose, right? If the purpose is to show vocal variety, then is standing up required? Probably not. If the purpose is to show body language, gestures, definitely standing up is required because that makes you freer to express.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
To what extent? Oh, sorry. Here, go. Sorry.
Vamshi, you have a question. You can ask, Vamshi.
Thanks, Sourav. It's a like different the evaluation. Like I heard from the other sessions, it's quite different from the regular sections. Like thanks very much for your inputs. My question is coming to my question. Like what kind of format you will follow the like evaluation? Like there are many techniques, right? As a part of evaluation, which technique is the best one? And yeah. I want to hear from you the techniques. Which one is the best one for?
We always say that you should get the commendation first, and then you should give the recommendation, and then you should summarize. Some people say you should do commendation, recommendation, and then summarize. So I'm not a big fan of the sandwich method because the sandwich method, when I'm working in the corporate and someone is my manager is evaluating me, they always used to do the sandwich method. And I used to always focus on the two breads. Sorry, not focus on the two breads, but the slice in between and how thin the slice is getting, right? So I think that is very important for us. So commendations, recommendations sometimes becomes very fake. You just think of something and just cook it up. Okay. Yeah. And oh my God, your screen presence was brilliant. You had to say something, right? So I think the best way of handling this is probably going to be commendations. So use the format that the judging sheet has: analysis of the speech, the commendations, recommendations, and summary. If you see, the judging sheet exactly follows this pattern. 40 marks are there for analysis. Around 20 marks, 30 marks are there for commendations. 25 or 20 marks are there for commendations, 25 marks is there for recommendations, and then 10 marks is there for summary. So 10 to 15 marks. So follow that pattern because that is going to also prepare you for the contest. So analysis of the speech, what were you trying to do? What did the good things that you did which made that objective? What are the things that you could do better so that the objective is better met? And what did I just say?
Sourav, I have a question. The topic for today's session was evaluate with empathy. Do you think empathy has something to do with evaluation?
In my definition, the biggest definition of empathy is sincerity.
Okay.
You coming me and telling me that I am the most handsome hunk in the world is not being empathetic. It's going to only make me feel bad because I have a mirror at home, right? So empathy is all about sincerity. And what I just discussed with you is about how to become a sincere evaluator. See, being sincere doesn't mean you need to be rough. You don't need to be rude. Sincere means you want to tell the speaker what you would have told your best friend if that person was struggling with something.
Okay, one more question. So do you evaluate all the speakers in the same manner, or if it is an icebreaker speech, consider that it is icebreaker, a senior or a distinguished Toastmaster speech, or a contest? How does it differ?
I don't care if that person is a distinguished Toastmaster or a world champion of public speaking or this one. So we have done WCPS semi-finalist evaluations, Nidhi Saini and then the other guy I'm forgetting from Region 13. Two people we had evaluated, both of them who are representing. And it doesn't matter to me at all what are the credentials. What is that person trying to achieve? So newcomer coming into Toastmaster and giving the evaluations, the icebreaker speech, I can see in his nervousness in his voice, right? That he's struggling, stuttering, stammering, stopping, having abnormal pauses. So what am I listening? I'm listening to someone who's trying to introduce himself the first time. So this is how he'll progress. Right? That again, I'll take Meena's example as a safe bet. So Meena, I think today you tried to introduce yourself to the club. And most probably this is the first time you did that. And you did a brilliant job with that. Right? So that is what. Now, If it is someone like a more seasoned speaker, like Rajiv, I know again, I'll bring the liberty of mentioning him. Though he's not on camera, I can identify by the voice. He has a very unique voice. So Rajiv, if he comes on camera, if he is giving a speech, right, I would say that, Rajiv, your icebreaker speech is a reminder to us who you are. And thank you. You helped us refresh our memory that, yes, you are one of the speakers we can look at for, if you're looking for a test speaker in an evaluation speech contest. Here is a brilliant icebreaker speech. So you see, it's not about who Rajiv is, but the speech will convey that, right? When that speech is coming across, it will convey that confidence. So I am not a big fan of going and reaching out to the speaker and trying to understand. Though those must kind of proposes that we do that, but I'm not a big fan of that for the very simple reason we can't do that in the contests. So getting to know the background of the speaker sometimes makes you biased.
Okay. Meena, you have a question?
Yes, thank you. If our purpose is to uplift the speaker, some of the times we see evaluators having flowery language, songs, and a story while they're sharing evaluation to the speakers. And sometimes the other evaluators, they have very crisp, clear feedback to uplift the evaluator speakers. So does the delivery of the evaluator have an impact, especially during the contest? What is your take on this?
Which one do you prefer?
Second one, to be very crisp and clear, because I don't get flowery
You answer
language.
your own question.
Yeah, but does that have a bias or an
Let us take a
impact?
vote. How many of you prefer a crisp and a very clear evaluation rather than me coming here with a very filmy style and like what we are looking for is a sincere moment of epiphany, my friend. That's what we are looking for. We are not looking for drama here, right? I call that the performance trap. Sometimes because the speaker was very good, the evaluator feels the pressure. Oh, I need to be even better. So that speaker came wearing a mask, I will come wearing a burqa, right? That doesn't help. The speaker is here to perform. You are here to evaluate. Understand the difference. You're not in a competition with the speaker. No, you're not.
I can see 3 hands raised for another round of questions, but I have to disappoint you all because we are already running short of time. But one thing I can do is I can share, with the permission of Sourav, I can share the number of Sourav. Sourav, if you don't mind, I'll share the number with all the 3
Sure.
questions. They can directly ask the question to you, or maybe they can.
I think Mohan had raised his hand for some time.
Then we can take one question from Mohan and we can conclude. Yes. Mohan, please go on.
Yeah. My question is about the analysis, right? What is that you want to usually CRC format, right? I have my own format. I say what went well, areas of improvement, and conclusion. I go with the Scrum or Sprint kind of that format, and I give crisp and honest feedback. What is the analysis that we need to cover in that? I mean, what points will definitely help the evaluation?
Objective.
Okay.
Right, the objective of the speech. Why is that person delivering the speech, and how? And when we talk about objective, you can go in multiple directions. One, objective of the speech. Objective of the speech in relation to the audience. Objective of speech in that chronology, or in the context of Kairos, for example, the time factor. Right.
No.
For example, a speech on wars when Russia and Ukraine is fighting has a very different objective than a speech on wars when apparently there is no major war happening.
Okay.
So all of those things we'll have to take into consideration. If I'm sharing, I remember I gave a speech in US, and it was very insensitive of me to do that. I gave a speech in US where it was my humorous project, engaging humor project. I was introducing myself. So my mom, and this will raise your eyebrows, my mom was with the services, so she was a part of the Ministry of Defense, and she was to work for one of the agencies. I still don't know which agency. And she used to bring some toy guns at home. Toy in the sense they're not really toy guns, but like, what should I say, duplicate guns, which can't kill people, but it looks like a real gun. Like guns and all that. And I gave a speech about, how I played with guns even before I started playing with balls. And one member of the audience told me during the feedback, Sourav, it's a very wrong timing for you to give this speech because in US, we are debating about the gun laws. And it's not. She said, it's not funny, Sourav. We are losing lives. We have strong opinions for and against this topic, so please be sensitive about it.
Yeah.
So, so the objective was totally misplaced.
Got it.
To make people laugh, I ended up disappointing them.
Got it. Yeah. Got it. Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah, I understand that, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Back to you, Pramod. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sourav. Thanks for the time. Thanks for an interesting session. Let me honor with you an online certificate. This is our gratitude to your time. Once again, I thank you on behalf of all the participants for an interesting session. I'm sharing your email ID with all the participants. If they have any doubts or any clarification, or if they want to improve further their evaluation skills with empathy, definitely they'll contact you. Please do support them. And once again, thank you so much. That was a wonderful session, right? Amazing session. So let's go to the breakout room and let's discuss more about what we have heard just now, how we can incorporate all those things in our evaluation from next session onwards, and how to prepare the speech, that is writing a speech with a purpose. So let's go to the breakout room. Arav, is it open? Yeah, right.
Yes, they are.
Yes. Please go to the rest.
Hi, Pramod. Hi, everyone.
Hi, how was the speech? How was the evaluation session?
It's really good. Yeah.
It's really good for an existing Toastmaster, but my question is to the new participants. They are attending Speechcraft program for the first time. Have you got any head and tail out of this evaluation session?
Yeah, really, it's.
You got
I mean,
some
understand
kind of
the meaning of empathy. Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing. This was an interesting and an excellent session for an existing Toastmaster, because if somebody knows about Toastmasters or have attended multiples of meetings or is in Toastmasters for the last several years, have seen some contests, have seen some good speeches, then this education session will make sense for you. But the real purpose of arranging such a session is to give you an idea about how to approach evaluation. So that is called evaluation with empathy. So why do we use the word empathy? Because empathy is something which we have to show to our speaker so that the speaker can come back and give speech again. If you are giving a very brutal, rude and honest feedback to the speaker that you stammered 10 times, you stuttered 10 times and you are missing here and there and you have not done this portion really well. Even if you show sincerely, even if you give this evaluation sincerely, people might feel that, oh no, I didn't do well. So should I go to the meeting next time and all? So that's the reason why we use the word evaluation with empathy. Please be understood that we follow something called CRC in Toastmasters, which is commendation, recommendation, and commendation. The thing which Sourav said, that CRC. Sourav said, I am concentrated on the middle portion, that is R. R is recommendation. But I would strongly suggest you to concentrate more on the C portion in the initial days of your evaluation. That is, commendation should be, you have to motivate the speaker. When you are motivating a speaker, he or she will come and give more and more speeches. And when you are a Toastmaster, you have completed 1 year of Toastmasters journey, watch the recording of the session, then